Hello, it's Mr. Mulholland again. I'm going to be showing you how to make a cup for the cup challenge. Now, it's important to remember that this is only one possible way you could have done this task, but it's how I personally would have done it. And, of course, have fun with it. There's more than one right way, and I'm sure some of you could make a whole lot more interesting cups than this one. So, first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to open a new part. Hit OK, and we're going to check our units, mmgs, up to the cog, document properties, units, mmgs. So everything's OK there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start our sketch, and the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to use a revolve to make the cup shape, to make the first part of our cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my L shape using center lines across the origin. Straight up. Oh, that's not straight up. Center line. Straight up. And straight to the side. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little rectangle. And this will be our scale, rough scale of our cup. So I'm going to say it is 100 millimeters wide, and I'm going to say it is 110 tall. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch the outline of my cup that I'm going to revolve in and around this square, this rectangle. So I'm just going to start just here. I'm just going to go for a nice little simple shape for my cup. Now, just because I've drawn these lines doesn't mean I need to stick inside them. And because this is really just about designing a cup, the size isn't too important. So when I have my line drawn for my profile, I'm going to hit offset entities, and I'm going to select the line that I'm looking to offset. Remember, offset entities just makes a copy of that line a distance away from it. So I'm going to set the distance to be 3 millimeters, and that's going to be the thickness of the walls of my cup. So I'm going to type in 3 into parameters, and I'm going to hit OK. So now we have the basic outline of our cup. What we need to do is we need to make this a closed entity. And if you remember what that means there's no gaps between the lines. And this is really easy. I'm just going to use the spline tool. And I'm going to give the top of it a nice round curve to close it at the top. And at the bottom, I'm going to use lines to close it to the rectangle. So there we go, we know we've got our closed sketch because it's all grayed out now. So what we're going to do next is we are going to use trim entities, and we're going to get rid of all the lines we don't need. And there's a problem I'm noticing with this cup is that the bottom is going to be too small for the cup to sit comfortably when it's full. This is something you see in a lot of cups in real life, and the way they get around it is they just give it a nice little stand to sit on. So I'm just going to, using the line tool, widen the base, just like that. And when I've done that, I can use trim entities, get rid of this line in the middle, make sure everything is closed again. Just like that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to choose features. I'm going to choose revolve base. Our axis of revolution is going to be this line here. This is the center line from the start. And our selected contours is going to be the cup that we outlined. So you can see I've got a nice sort of fancy china cup shape now. What is our cup missing? Our cup is missing its handle, isn't it? So what we're going to do now is we're going to sketch our handle up for the cup. To do that, we're going to choose sketch, and we're going to choose sketch again. And I am going to choose the front plane. I could use the right plane as well, but because I'm already looking at it on the front view, I'm going to use the front plane. And using the spline tool or free draw tool, I'm just going to trace an outline of where this handle will go. Now, I haven't joined these 2 points to the cup yet, and that's deliberate. You'll see why in a minute, but it's important that your lines are sort of facing the cup at this point. So you can sort of see that if I was to continue this line, it would eventually touch the cup, and the same with this line here. So what we're going to do now, how are we going to get this 3D? We're going to use the sweep tool, and this is going to act as our path for the sweep tool. But what do we need to do? We need to make a new plane to draw our profile on. Now, how do we do that? Do you remember? We go to features, we exit sketch first, sorry. We go to features, reference, and we click plane. And where are we looking to place this plane? Well, we're looking this plane to be facing this line. So the first reference point, I'm going to use the bottom line. You could use the top one if you wanted. It's not going to make a big difference. But I like using the bottom line for this type of thing. And you can see this, if I was to hit OK now, this plane would be this yellow box. But that's not where I'm looking this plane to be. I'm looking this plane to be rotated 90 degrees. And how are we going to do that? We're going to use our second reference point. We're going to ensure our first point is coincident. That means it'll still be touching this point. And we're going to choose our second reference as, let's have a look, we're going to use the right plane. And we're going to make sure it's parallel. And if you look now, the little blue box is where this plane will be. And let's have a look. It is touching this line. And it is just about perfect. So I'm just going to hit the green tick. So what's next? We need to sketch our path. We need to sketch our profile for our sweep. Now, if you remember what the profile is, this is the shape that is going to be extruded along this line, which is our path. This line's our path, remember. So to do that, we're going to sketch, and we're going to choose this plane. So just do it through again, sketch, choose this plane. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convert our entities on this line here. This gives us our starting point when we make this line coincident with this point. Them 2 points should be touching. And just to do that, all you need to do is drag it onto it. Show you again. And drag. So now we have this. What we're going to do is we're going to sketch our profile on this little black dot. And I'm going to use a square for our profile. You can use a circle. You can even use an even more crazy shape using the spline tool. But just for simplicity, I'm going to use a nice little rectangle. And we're going to say it is 5 millimeters tall and 8 millimeters wide. And what we're going to do now is we're going to click Exit Sketch, Features, Sweep Boss Base, and we are going to choose our profile first. So we'll delete whatever's in that, and our profile is going to be the 4 lines on that square, or that rectangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to click the tick. And our path is going to be the line we sketched for our handle. And we'll just have a little review of it at the minute. make sure we're happy with it. Yes, I'm happy with that. So now we have another problem to solve, which is how is our handle attached to our cup? Well, this is simple. We're going to use an extrude just to join up these two faces to the cup. But we're going to use it differently than what we have before. So I'm going to click Sketch, and I'm going to choose the bottom one first. And I'm going to say Convert Entities, and I'm going to click this face. Do you remember what Convert Entities does? It just makes a 2D representation of a face on a new face or a new plane. Click. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit Extrude Boss Base. And instead of blind like you've used it before, we're going to click Up to Next. And what Up to Next does is it brings up an extrude to meet a surface or a face. So in this case, it is the side of the cup. And you can double check in the middle that it's not going through. And we're just going to do the same thing again for the top. Sketch, choose the face, Convert Entities, Features, Extrude Boss Base, and we are going to say Up to Surface, or Up to Next, sorry. And there we go. That's our basic little cup. Now I'm sure you can be a lot more creative than I was with this. This was just to show you a basic idea. If you want, you can make this little base wider. You can make any type of shape cup if you want. You could make it a mug. And you don't even need to use Revolve. It's just how I thought it would make sense to use it. Thank you.